get it right now.
Hey guys, welcome to another edition of the Undead Zone. Today we've got McLeod as always. Say hey, McLeod. And Space Mexican has decided to join us today. You there at Space, or are you still getting a beer?
I think he might be still getting a beer.
Still getting a beer, you know. Hey, he did ask if it was noon, so, I wouldn't put it past him. Hey, noon, beer, right?
This is true. This is very true.
Hello to everybody out there in the viewing audience. Welcome today. There's
guys.
Made a couple changes to the screen today. I put our Discord, the Imperium Discord chat that we are all in, doing voice in the middle, and down below you'll see the Pound General. That is actually the general chat from Daybreak's own H1Z1 Slack. So we'll see anything that goes on in there. Maybe we'll react to it. Who knows? Hey,
you say Slack, Eric. It's
Slack,
actually
Discord. I get Slack on the brain, unfortunately.
Your brain's slacking, Eric. Your brain is slacking.
My brain is very much slacking after the couple weeks I've had at work. It's just I'm not sure.
To be fair, that's understandable.
We were at a wake yesterday for a buddy of mine who passed away, and by 3 o'clock, I'm not sure I had any brain cells left, because you know how those Irish are,
They know how to drink.
Hello.
Hey, Space, welcome back.
Hey, Space is here at last. Did you get a decent drink, Space?
Yeah. What's going on, guys?
I'm drinking water. I have to rehydrate after all the old fashions and Manhattans I drank yesterday. And shots of Tito's.
I forgot to put any beer in the fridge, so I'm drinking water because I really can't be arsed drinking wine.
That's a little uppity to wine on this show. Not that I dislike wine, just the show doesn't work. Vampire show maybe. Of course, we are the Undead Zone.
Maybe a little bit more elegance than the undead rising up and trying to swipe at you.
That's true. And remember, last week we said Undead Zone is fair play for 7 Days to Die as well, because it is a zombie
Indeed it
thing.
Is.
And the Imperium has its own server, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to talk about today? What are we going to talk about today? Anything new on the test server?
Oh, on the test server, they're kind of rolling through. There's some new stuff on the test server. Most of it's fixed. Like, it's pretty much all fixes. If you play the test server now, it's kind of like it is a, enjoyable experience in comparison to what it is on live at the moment. Most definitely. Is it leaps and bounds from a couple of months ago? No, but at least things are working, and it's not like bugging out and making you want to slam your head against the desk. So so it's progress, but relatively in relation.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
But what there is as you mentioned earlier, a new Just Survive official Discord server, which has gone a long way to helping both the developers and the community kind of intermingle and talk to each other. I think the good thing about that is it's really helped the development team actually realize what the Just Survive community is kind of like.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's been a bit of an eye opener for them, and a lot of the talk, even though it's criticism, it's constructive criticism, and a lot of it's positive. So that's really, really good.
Yeah, I've been following it probably since you posted the link to it. It was either you or Marconius. And I didn't see a lot of trolling, which was, I thought, unusual.
Surprise! Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a case of they definitely chose their moderators for that very, very well. There's they've got a nice bank of moderators that are pretty good at making sure that the conversation doesn't go too kind of leery, too kind of crazy. I mean, it kind of did at the start, like the first 24 to 48 hours. It was like, certain individuals that we may or may not know from, having skills on our server, didn't last long. Let's put it this way. It didn't last even hours, maybe minutes, until they were actually, excused forcefully from the server. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is good. I mean, a lot of the stuff I expect, if anything scrolls up here, it was a little more active earlier this morning. If anything scrolls up, I expect it to be pretty interesting. I mean, I've seen, a lot of, hey, in the future we would like these things added. We really need these things in the game. Particular people seem to want classes and specialties. I don't know that really fits, but there is some of that going on. And it is really people saying, hey, we love the game. We'd really like you to do these things because we think it would be better. And that is, I mean, that's invaluable to a developer. It's got to be, right? Number one.
It definitely is. Like, there's been some there's been some moderately high level like discussions about it, like in terms of how you would move it along from being a raiding PvP game to being a zombie survival horror game kind of thing. Because I think that's one of the crying shames of H1Z1 is kind of it's lost its like zombie element to it. Like King of the Kill definitely has. Like it's not a zombie game in any way, shape, or form anymore.
No.
And I think I don't want to be negative, so I'll just be the devil's advocate for the show. But yeah, I mean, I think for the survival, they have a great game there with the graphics and the mechanics and the way they set it up. I think when they have the Z2 map, I think they really have an opportunity to recapture the people who play the game, because obviously they're the most people play is King of the Kill, which McLeod's right. They've completely removed the zombie aspect of it and just really kind of stuck to like a survival mode style. And I'm okay with that. I mean, if H1Z1 just turns into a survival game, and really it's just a survival background kind of cover, I'm fine with that. I mean, if the survival side is going to stay with the zombie theme, then I think they're really just should either look at making the zombie part of it more, where it impacts the game, where it actually affects it, and you think about it more. Which they kind of did. It felt like when about 3-4 months ago when I stopped playing it, it kind of felt like, they were, they made it to the point where you were affected a lot more by the zombies. But I agree. I think they should just make a decision and go with it. But I think they have a good opportunity once they release the Z2 map to recapture a lot of that community back into the game.
Well, I would say that the Z2 map does have more of an apocalyptic feel to it. Right. Than the original Z1, like Zone 1 map kind of thing. Because, but I mean, even so, it doesn't have that super apocalyptic feel. It has that like post-apocalyptic feel of maybe like, this is, the apocalypse, but like, I don't know, years on from the apocalypse.
Right.
Like when all of the fires and all of the oil kind of, the fields of spilt, petroleum and crude oil and stuff have burnt off and stuff. Like, but I always kind of get that feeling like it doesn't like look like a world that's kind of, apocalyptic-y, kind of on fire kind of thing. So,
and I think where EVE Online was successful was that it was one server that was massive. And I don't know if H1Z1 could be that way, but I think if they compressed and consolidated some of the amount of servers they have and make them more large scale servers and make them bigger, that way things are more spread apart. You can load up more people in a server, because the fact of the matter is 200 people in a small server, I'd rather be 3,000, 2,000 people in a large server.
Yeah.
Because it creates more of a dynamic versus putting everybody in a sardine can. And then they also had the lagging issues with so much data pumping through with all the building going on. So, I think they could.
Well, that's one of the issues of pushing everybody into the same kind of server. Is like, it's going to have to be that server that pumps out, like so much data to everybody else. It's kind of like, it's one of those things where it's like the amount of people, like, if you add X amount of people to X amount of people, the amount of data doesn't multiply, like, based on that amount of people times that amount of people. It's like, it's almost like a squaring. It's like
right.
It's you have to send and receive so much more data than just like a multiple of that. Like, it's it's off the charts kind of scale wise. So whether they have the ability to do that, I'm not sure. They can. I mean, they've done huge scale kind of gameplay and stuff like that in PlanetSide 2. So it begs to differ that they can. And they do have something that can kind of do it. But
yeah, and just a shout out to NSB 31 or 3L. I'm not sure which it is for following. Thank you for the follow. When you talk about the scaling, right? That's one of the things that I was always interested in, right? It seemed that we've always been capped just over that 100 mark, 100 people. I mean, and they seem to have a lot of objects that apparently need to check their status, right? On some periodic basis. It just seems like they have a lot of overhead built into that engine. The other thing, too, is, sometimes opening those crates, I mean, it just takes so long to retrieve the contents. And sometimes you have to open them 2 or 3 times to get that to come up.
What do you mean?
Just storage containers, really. Not crates. Okay. Storage containers,
yeah.
Right?
Okay, got it.
Open it up, there's nothing in it, but there is. There's a ton of stuff, right? So you close it, open it up again. Sometimes it's the second or third time before you see the stuff.
Oh, they've completely sorted that out, like that.
Good.
Like the sort of the issues with the UI and moving items around. That's been pretty much crushed, like on the test server.
Yeah,
so far,
it was almost. I mean, in the last patch, right? I mean, they took 5 steps backwards, right?
Yeah.
I mean, when I look at what we play today on the regular servers versus what we started playing when we could still build on the dam, I'd rather have the original version we started to play over a year ago at that point.
Yeah, very, very much so.
When doors killed me. Thanks, Laz.
Oh, those days.
Oh, yeah.
A gate. When gates were literally the worst adversary that you would ever come across.
But I keep on I stated this before, but I truly think that people left because, I mean, one, the hackers are annoying. Yeah, they're annoying. But the other thing was they never kept adding to the game that kept it more interesting. Because unlike King of the Kill, where you're basically fighting for first place and you start all over, it's the whole Call of Duty play around and you're done style gaming. They didn't keep adding more things because unfortunately survival isn't that way. Those types of games are not made where you should get to an endpoint constantly. And yeah, they did the server wipes, but even after the server wipes, I mean, from my understanding, most of the people left because it was 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then bam, you're back to where you were the last server wipe. So it didn't, they just did not keep adding more things and creating it, creating the mechanics of the game more interesting, or creating what's the right way to say it? Creating the, where the
sort of the interest level.
The interest level, yeah, or making it more complicated. That's what I was waiting for. Where they added some type of structure system where it was more complicated. You had and I think that's what EVE Online is. It's like this never ending. You're never going to get to the end, and even when you get to the end, you're still not at the end. And I think that's what that mentality of making a game has always kept people playing a game like EVE Online, and they've held interest to so many thousands and thousands of players at any given moment, because it was like, okay, here's the game. You can go 3,500 different avenues, and when you're done with one avenue, by the time you're done with that avenue, it's 3 years down the road, and you can go to another avenue. So they just never created that for H1Z1.
I think you're onto something there, very, very definitely.
Because I always remembered that, like Eric, like, I mean, you've dabbled in industry and like research and stuff like that in EVE, haven't you?
Oh yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So you could, like, because I remember when I first kind of tried it out, and it was just like, holy God, this is deep. Like, you would take raw materials to turn into refined materials, to turn them into, certain small components that you'd use to make larger components that you'd have to use, and then you'd have to like get a blueprint that you'd need to have various different things in order to actually make it worthwhile, in order to get a blueprint copy to, be able to use it. It's just like there's all of this process just made it so deep. And I mean, yeah, fair enough, it was complex. Like if you wanted to produce like really, really high grade, high quality stuff, but like, it wasn't as if all of the other stuff that wasn't super high quality or super high like tech level was obsolete. Like they all had their kind of uses, all had their sort of their place in the game, which was really, really cool.
Oh yeah,
I still think that it's very, very possible that Just Survive can have that.
Well, I think and Space started down that route. I think where they became challenged at Daybreak is so much stuff got broken, and they had to deal with so many hackers, right? And it was killing the game, right? And they never got to the point where they had some optimized code that was consistent on every release, that they could go and I think make those things more complicated. Either that, or they didn't have the staff to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of feel like it was half that and half maybe the issue that the staff roster, I guess, of Just Survive, or of what was constituted Just Survive before the split. I think. I mean, I'm guessing here, but like I kind of guess that the staff roster kept on chopping and changing as people kept on being moved around in the in the company, kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who the Matani connection to is, but brings up a great point out there.
They
oversold a game that didn't exist, right? And when you think about, and I think you're right, staff with experience too, right?
They did have some experience, but like the experience that they have wasn't in, this particular genre, or like because this is kind of like a genre where it's like smashing two things together, really, isn't it? It's like the FPS side, the open world sandboxy type. I mean, they have had the large scale FPS kind of thing with PlanSide 2, but they haven't had the sort of open world kind of thing where there's a lot of persistence and a lot of metagaming. And I think that's one of the things that they lacked a lot of experience in, because I don't think they realized quite how much, organized groups of individuals can, what they can do.
Well, that's something they still haven't addressed till today, right? Cloud and space. Yeah. I mean, you still can't have a group in the game over 12, 14, whatever that number is, right?
Yeah.
There's clans that have been able to figure out how to, have larger than 12, but keep it relatively okay. But there's really imperfect ways of doing it, but it always comes down to the 12.
12. Yeah, and I even thought about, I've been thinking about some of the ways that they use explosives, right? And again, we come into that challenge where anything you do to help or impact large groups also affects small groups, right? It's almost like it's so easy to make explosives and blow up bases that, it's almost like you either need to significantly reduce the explosive power or increase the defensive of a base, right? It's just so easy to if you want to blow up a base, it doesn't take much, right?
I half kind of feel like some of the issue can be resolved in stockpiling stuff, like because a lot of groups, like, if they've survived a little while, they generally have fairly large-ish stockpiles of explosives because they need to be able to respond quickly and aggressively to anybody who suddenly, brings a prefabricated base and just, lands it right sort of smack bang either in front of them or right next to them or sort of like, just over the crest of the hill kind of thing. So, like, and when you're a small group trying to, put together something that that's maybe a little bit far away, and you've got an aggressive large group that's just, going around and trying to push people off a server, it's difficult because the persistent group always has large stockpiles of explosives that they can just bring to bear straight away onto you. And I'm kind of like there thinking to myself, like it's not like it's not like this should be sort of like we're putting down bricks of plastic explosive. It's gunpowder that we're using. Like, there should be some there should be some kind of what's called like some kind of danger stockpiling large amounts of it. If you get me, like, there should be a reason to sort of have to sort of maybe spread it out. Otherwise, maybe it might go up.
Like a Molotov cocktail in the wrong place, boom. It all goes.
Exactly, and it might be something like a mechanic to think about for Daybreak. I'm fairly certain that it will go down like a lead balloon with most of the Just Survive community because that is a big nerf to something, and it would mean a lot of effort put into putting stuff into different boxes and spreading stuff out, which is always a bit of a bugbear for them, I guess. But food for thought, right?
And I wasn't sure if things should be more. I mean, it's a delicate balance, right? And I'm certainly not saying that I have the answer, right? It's just a challenge when you have large groups on a server, and every game faces it, right? We have the same problem in EVE Online, right? I mean, CCP as an organization which thinks, hey, if we put these game mechanics in here, we'll force small gang fighting, right? Well, guess what? That doesn't work. It doesn't matter what you do. The blob's going to win. I mean, that's how it works.
It's I keep on coming back to it and, stating that, like, in EVE, it's called Malkuth's, is it Malkuth's Law or something like that? I think it's like, one of the old former CSM members. Want
looking it up, folks. He hates forgetting this law.
I hate not knowing it. You want to know why? You want to know why? It's because I'm in the initiative. Okay? He's in the initiative, and I should know his name, but I haven't been playing EVE, so I don't know his name.
It's terrible.
Malcanis's Law. It's
Malcanis's Law.
Like, if anybody knows, like, sort of the initiative in EVE, then they should know Malcanis. And Malcanis has been I think a member of multiple CSMs. Essentially, what he just basically said is, like, a lot of changes that are brought in to apparently help the little guys, the sort of the small groups, invariably end up helping the larger groups more.
Always.
That's essentially the law.
Yep.
And it's held strong and steady for a long time.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, some of the things I think that would make, and by the way, we're talking Just Survive now, but we're going to hit King of the Kill as well. And, it's almost like once you build a base, let's say, in the Just Survive area, right? And let's say it takes, what is it for a wall? 4 metal, 4 wood, right? So once you've built it and had it there for a while, it would be very interesting if you could sit there and add components to it later and reinforce it so that when you went to attack a base, you really didn't know what it was going to take to get in. Think about that for a minute.
Yeah, you can make a wooden garden, white picket fence. I mean, technically that means that you've got a structure there that you can build a brick wall around. And then eventually maybe, take that wood out and shove a bunch of reinforced and steel rods into it, yeah? So, it should be something that you should be able to upgrade.
Yeah, that would be interesting. And you bring up a great comment earlier about the scaling, right, that they're able to do with the PlanetSide 2. Versus some of the things we've seen in H1, I don't know if H1 is so limited due to some of the code optimization they might need to do yet. I'm not sure. I mean, space. You think about that?
You know what? To be honest, I think this is my observation of we're always sitting here going, hey, I wonder if they're stuck here, this and that. I think it honestly comes down to the basic point of that they've had so much rotation in their company. Over the course of the life of H1Z1. And I think that's really what has to do with it. We saw King of the Kill just get projected out of nowhere to be this top of the part of the game, and it got a full makeover faster, quicker, better than Survival. Well, that's because it was a moneymaker. And, they're getting staff rotated after rotated, from John Smedley leaving to the new company, Sony being sold, first Sony being sold, then John Smedley leaving. And then recently, the CEO that took over John Smedley's position, he left. You saw people like Steve George, who were one of the creators of this game, and the people who began with that team, he left. So you have a lot of experience and people that basically developed this game from the ground up, and they leave, and then you get new people coming in. And even though these people are probably experienced and they've worked on other titles and they have the experience to make this good, you lose that leadership of the core team that started the game. And without that leadership, it takes time for those other employees and other leaders who come in. It takes them time to grow and progress and get to the point where the game, is developing. And I think they're working on it right now, but I honestly contribute most of that, where they took focus away from Survival and focused on of King of the Kill. And even look at King of the Kill now. I mean, it takes off. They have 2 years at TwitchCon with the tournament, and they're getting a lot of hype, and there are a lot of people playing it. But, even since the Z2 map launched, the new platform launched, you still haven't seen a rapid update on that game. So I think
quite true.
I think it falls back to just the structure of their company and the turnover they're struggling with. And I don't want to say struggling with. I think it's just typical turnover when you get new companies and you get rotation of existing people. It takes 2 years at minimum to go through that process. and a large company like that probably takes longer. So so and you got to think about it. When every person leaves and they're going to a new place, and other people that have left stayed behind, they're working there, but maybe they're unhappy or they're not happy, and they want to change too. And then it's just like a never-ending exiting almost. And then you eventually get down to this core team that stays and new employees that come, and then they create a new team. I think that has a lot to do with it, to be honest, with this game, and both King of the Kill and Survival.
And every coder has his own style, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like a unique little snowflake industry like gaming.
and not every coder leaves, sort of handover notes to the other coder, which can be a real pain in the ass.
Turnover notes? Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
I guarantee there's no notes.
Well, and then you get them putting people in positions that may or may not be suitable for that position, but they have to because they got to fill the position, and they got to keep it going. So then you get employees that are in a position they don't want to be in, but they feel like they have to take it. So just a lot of different things go through when you get someone that buys you out, and you get so much turnover from the top down. You just get a lot of change, and the change shows in the progress of their games. Unfortunately,
it's true. My challenge and both King of the Kill and Just Survive apply here, right? And we're halfway through, so we can talk more King of the Kill if we want. It's almost like in the gaming industry, the turnover for game, the attention we spend on a game as gamers, tends to wane over time. And like you said earlier, you have to have that staying power, right? Something new and interesting being released all the time, right? Even Eve did it when they said, hey, we're going to update the ships and make them not look flat. We're going to give them some metallic shine, right? And even that was important for the game. Just the difference in how your ships looked, right?
Right.
And that was years ago at this point, right? And it was a huge step forward for the game. They made weather on the planets, different things like that. And I think, one of the things that was interesting in the beginning about H1Z1 is some of the weather patterns that we don't see any longer, right?
Right.
We would see
that was
rain.
Kind of cool. That was kind of cool when they did that.
Yeah. I mean, the fog was too much fog, right? They needed to lighten that up, but
the frequency of it.
Yeah, the frequency of it, right? You could make it be really foggy every once in a while, but you needed that frequency in the rain. And the interesting thing, when it rained, your bottles filled up quicker.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
You had interesting things happening, which was good, right? But they cut all that back. The other thing too is, and Matani Connection mentions it too, there's just not that many zombies.
Yeah.
Right? And for the life of me, can't figure it out, because I have been on the Just Survive portion of the game, and there have been no zombies. I log in the next day, and I'm sitting in an area doing the same things I did before, and now there's 100. How does that work?
Yeah, that is true.
But go ahead.
No, I was just kind of saying I have kind of experienced something similar, but I think part of the issue there is it depends entirely on how much how much population's on the server and whether it's densely packed into a certain location on the map, because generally that tends to draw a lot of the sort of zombie population towards it, and you don't tend to you don't tend to register on the sort of heat map, I guess, that sort of spawns zombies if you have a fairly sizable amount of people on another side of the map, kind of thing.
Right.
I think that's kind of coming into play there a little bit. But I do kind of feel like there should be at least some localized sort of minimum level of zombies that are always in some way present, at least.
Right. Well, getting into, not that I'm the host of the show, but getting into the
it's an open conversation. Yeah. This is not a host directed show. Yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Getting into the King of the Kill, I think since that's their moneymaker, I really think they should go back to what the founding makers did very well, and I think that they tried or attempt to put forward to listen to the community, and I think that's important. To listen to the community, and the community will tell you where it needs to go, and the community will show you how. Unfortunately, if your game needs to improve or your game needs to change, and in what direction it needs to change. I mean, in the day of analytics and, community gaming, it's kind of where it's always been. So I think even for King of the Kill, I think that the Matani.com TMC can produce more I thought we produced more information and feedback on the game development than other communities have in the past, and I think we could help with that.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I mean, think about King of the Kill, right? And it
Right.
Since the Z2 map, there hasn't been a ton of change. What are some of the things that you think you would like to see in that particular game change?
For King of the Kill?
Yeah.
You know what? I would like for them to, before they started with the Z2 map, they really had like this like weekly or monthly like game style play. And I thought that was kind of cool, and I think they should go back to that because it was really taking the existing map and like clicking in my head. I look at it as checking a couple boxes off and checking a couple boxes on type of thing. Where you had here's the special thing. If you win, you can win this prize, and
okay,
it's only snipers. It's only snipers or only shotguns. You know what I mean? And I think that they're not. They kind of did it with the Z2 where they did the skulls system, and they're like, okay, if you grind up to 50,000 skulls, you can get this cool Jeep skin. I thought that was really clever because you're essentially incentivizing the community to play the game, and you're not doing it in some like. Now, I think 50,000 skulls is a lot, but I think they should have probably made that like 30,000. But you're still you're incentivizing the community to play the game, and you're not making it overly complicated where they have to buy these things or spend this money. You're really getting players to just play the game,
Yeah.
And that's part of it. The part of it is that you have to have so many X amount of players in the server, and I'm sure they have analytics on their end where it says, this many players spend this many dollars, and the more players they get to play, the more money they're spending on crates or keys or whatever else incentive, that the game's offering. But they have to start by capturing the audience and keeping the audience there so that they play long enough in order to essentially spend more money. So I think that was one thing that I wish they would have kept going, because it's really easy to keep that rotating and just swapping it out. Hey, here's a skin. I mean, out of all the developers they have there, I'm sure they can dedicate one guy. Hey, your job is to make the monthly skin giveaway. There's just so many different things that they could do to keep it interesting and keep it going while they're in the middle of, I noticed they have the tournament tab on there. No update on that yet. So, people are like, great, where is the tournament of this game going to go? What is it going to be? And I think what happens is they consistently let the people, they linger too long. They wait too long. And people lose interest over time, and they're not acting fast enough. And I think that's a big problem for them, because I see all this stuff, and for me, I'm like, wow, that's cool. And eventually you're like, you just ignore it because nothing happens.
But they just end up like letting it stagnate.
Right.
And then,
so regardless of if it's Survival or King of the Kill, and we're talking about King of the Kill right now, that's one of the things that I would like to see happen, because for me, I look at a game that has... Really, I look at the game and go, wow, this game has so much more potential, because it's a great-looking game. It's fun. The graphics are pretty good, and there's so many things you can do with it. So I think that's what frustrates me about being, being a somewhat like H1Z1 original kind of player, that I loved the game. I really do love the game, and I look at it and go, wow, like every time it's like, they can do more. And I don't say like more like, oh, we should have airplanes or, helicopters or something that probably is a little out there to reach. Just for me, I'm like, just little things like you could do this. And I'm sure it looks like you already have the foundation for it, but you're not doing it, and you're losing interest. And when people lose interest, they move on, and there's new games, and they go play those new games, and they don't come back.
Right.
Yeah,
they just don't.
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest thing you've got right there, right? So they had the big fallout, right? With all the hackers.
It's like in
right.
Yeah, it's like in sport. Like, it's like in sport, you have to capitalize on the, on your plays, right? Like, if you've got like, a guy running for the touchdown line, and you throw the ball like to him, and he catches it, like, what's the point of him being there if when he catches, he just stands there, right? Do you know what I mean?
You just reminded me.
It's
I
like,
better.
if he catches and just goes, yeah, that's it. I've caught it, so it's cool.
I feel like I wish I could
just get there.
I wish I could go to Daybreak's office and like write this paper and like write this review paper and like hand it to CEO and be like, hey, I will consult for no money whatsoever. I will be a consultant of Daybreak community for no fucking money. And I will show you people in this company that are probably wasting time and wasting on wasty ideas and just show you how to just be like, do this shit and you'll like capture way more people. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh. I know maybe I'm talking a little over my head. Maybe there's some things that obviously we don't know about. It's a big corporation, but I just see all these little opportunities and I'm like, wow, why don't they just do this? I'm like, it's simple and it's not some complicated freaking thing.
They probably have like 1,000 ideas going through some kind of brainstorming process constantly, and they like every so often pick one or two, and they kind of go.
And when you thought
it was going to be really massive and like be like the second coming of Christ or something.
Well, and the fact of the matter is with all the road,
it's like if you just pushed it a little bit further, it would be so good, but you just kind of like half-assed it.
And like with all the rotation in the company, it's like if I feels like to me like every time it's like a never-ending rotating idea, and it's like God, just someone please just like put their fucking foot down and go, this is what we're doing. We're moving forward with this. Everybody, please focus your ideas on this, and we're going down the road. So if it has nothing to do with this, don't talk about it. Because I'm sure in those dialogues, in those meetings, there's like a bunch of little special snowflakes with all their wonderful ideas. And it's like, God, it takes a real leader to go, we're doing this. Stop talking about that. Stop talking about this and focus on this.
Speaking of
special, that's what Landon has actually. I think that's what Landon has actually done pretty well, and what he's literally gone in there, taking the bull by the horns, and gone, guys, this is what we're focusing on. This is what we're doing. I don't need to. I don't want to hear X, Y, Z. Like, just get on with it. Figure out the coding, work it out, push it to the test server, get the people to play it and to give their feedback, and basically go through that cycle. I think he has kind of grabbed the bull by the horns on it. But like, as is always the case when you go from one job to another job or one company to another company, there's that kind of downtime and uptime.
Right.
You kind of need to get up to speed on how things are done, what the process is, what the people are, who does what. No,
you're 100% correct, and it just needs to get to the point where they're pushing things out because really, from what I'm, there's only so many things a company looks at, right? They look at how many players you got. They look at income, how many people are buying the game, how many new players do you have? There's just so many. There's only so many numbers that they're looking at, and the fact of the matter is that they have to keep the interest going. Keep the interest going, no matter what it is. Just, throw a. I liked it when they did that like special mask skin. Remember that? And it's like you only can get it in the airdrop. And I remember the first time that happened, and it was like a Mad Dash airdrop game.
Oh yeah.
Like nobody cared if they won. They didn't give a shit. It was like there's an airdrop, let's go. And you had these massive brawls at airdrops, and it was really fun and interesting, and it was different. But and every time it happened, every time they dropped a new one. Because I think it was last year, because I remember like they had one for like Thanksgiving, they had one for Halloween, they had one for Christmas, and it's like every time they dropped it, it was like this mad dash. But it was kind of awesome because it was something cool and it kept it going. Even if and that was something small. It's like let's just put a skin in an airdrop. I mean, how difficult is that? But
in terms of ideas, that's just such a. That's like it's not like it's I had to spend 10 hours fleshing this out in order to sort of bring a build or bring a I don't know, some kind of presentation out in order to actually just describe it to you. It was literally just like write it down in one sentence. Put a skin in a
Right, you know what? And those
Full
it was,
stop, you know?
and were they making millions of dollars off of that idea? No, but they were keeping the interest of the players going until they got to the next big hurdle, the next big crate drop. And I want to, and I don't want to just say, hey, everything that they should be doing. They've done some really cool things right, and I want to emphasize on those. I think that their skins through the crates are a lot better. I think they're a lot better, and I think
So much better.
whatever team I commemorate, whatever leader or team or whoever's working on that part of the game, because the crates themselves are, this last one, tremendous job, and it's like way better than the other ones have, and they've progressed, and they keep the interesting going. I mainly think because that's like the big money maker, but still, I'm glad someone went, oh, this one makes money. We should spend a lot of time on this. And I think that was a good idea because the skins that came out were really cool and they matched and they looked awesome, and it was a blend of things. It wasn't like one static kind of thing with different colors. So I think they did really good. And if they keep progressing in that avenue.
Like one of the other things that I kind of wanted to say in terms of skins, like, I mean, I know it's not like cool gameplay and all this kind of thing, but like, in terms of King of the Kill, it's kind of important because, a lot of people, that's kind of half the draw to the game is just your ability to to customize your look and all that kind of thing, right?
Right.
But like the way that they've done the scrapyard system.
Yeah,
like, I know that there was the previous system where you you put 5 skins and then you got a skin of a higher grade kind of thing, and that's like the way that the scrapyard system has changed. That is a little bit sort of a lesser power of that, because you don't you can scrap a bunch of skins and get basically the same skins back technically.
Right.
It
was funny. I
think the variety is a hell of a lot better because, I remember when we were playing King of the Kill like a long while back, and it was just like when you'd get stuff for playing, just for playing the the elite bags and this, that, and the other. It was always just shirts,
right?
And it was always just the same shirts, and it was just like. You'd end up kind of tearing your hair out and end up like buying a pair of, pants off Steam, off the Steam marketplace, because you never got any pants in any way, shape, or form. But like this new kind of the way that they're doing it now, you get a whole bunch of stuff like pants. You get, helmets. Like, I mean, you even get gun skins from it and stuff. Like,
there was some cool stuff I got that I never had before. I thought that was kind of cool. Yeah,
you bring up an interesting point. There are little things that you drop into the game that keep people playing to achieve those goals. Right? There's no real goals.
Right.
In the game.
No,
right?
There's never a big goal in it. Like, especially games like this, like especially sort of open worldy kind of stuff. Like,
I honestly think that they should add more things to the skull system, at different levels, because to be honest, that's what keeps me playing. So I occasionally play with my friends right now, but I mainly play to ramp up my skulls because it's giving me something to play the game, and it's more than just playing the game, right? It's more because that's just what it is. People, it's like Counter-Strike, right? You got a whole leveling system, and people are playing to get up to that next level because it makes them feel badass or whatever their feelings are about, what they're psychologically going through because they want to level up. So it's given me as a player something to just grind through, and it's kind of cool because I like it, and I think they should emphasize on that. They should throw some gun skins on that leveling system and some other cool items that you only can get from that part of it. I think whoever created that system is really smart, and it's kept the interest going. But there's some additional things that they should do to keep more interest going and have it not super complex, but just different, like I said, back to Eve, different avenues you can go down, right? And you can change. It's like even in training, right? You can stop your training and train towards something else at any given moment. I think that's a great way to play the game.
I liked what you said earlier. So, and because it's usually a dirty word in gaming, right? Grind, right? I have to grind to get something, and a lot of people don't like that. But what you said was, I have to grind to get it, but I'm getting something that I really want, right? So it's not really a grind. It's just really doing something you like to do to get something you want to get.
But the thing is, Eric, it's kind of like the difference between how the grind is working in King of the Kill as opposed to how, grinding tends to kind of work in terms of PvE and, making money in Eve is in Eve, unless you are more interesting than most people, you tend to sort of make your money in the PvE kind of areas. You're just, grinding against things that are, very monotonous, very kind of well known and well judged, and you know what to expect, and it becomes quite dull and boring.
Well, there's the bad stuff, and then there's the not so bad stuff, right?
Then there's the not so bad stuff. But tell me a game, give me a game of King of the Kill that isn't, that is boring or monotonous. The game is so replayable and crazy things happen in the game constantly that no two games are really similar, and no two games are ever really dull in any way, shape, or form. But you still get the payment from it. You still get the kind of the XP and the grind from it.
Well, I would hate King of the Kill if I wasn't playing with you guys. I was playing all by myself. That would be like, okay, yeah. But, you get you, me, Space, and whoever else on the same comms doing crazy shit in the game. Right. And it's like, hey, this is a lot of fun.
Well, right? And that's the thing. It's like, it's creating that complexity to the game where exactly what you said. Right. I get on H1Z1 because I'm grinding for skulls to get a skin, right? Mm-hmm. And there has to, right now, I'm like, when I play with McLeod, I'm like, fuck, man. I want to play with McLeod and I want to just play the game to have fun. But man, that'd be cool if we can wager skulls in duels. That way, at least I'm grinding for something additional, right? So and when you do that, and it's kind of like it's the betting the betting psychology of it. When there's something on the line that you're risking, you tend to take it more serious. So, so for me, because I can't play a lot. I work a 60-hour job, and I don't have time to play like some of these younger people or people with less responsibility, and that's not a negative. It's just I'm in the position of my life where I don't have 20 hours plus a week to grind through a game. I just don't. Right. So for me, I love the fact that they complemented the leveling system, the ranking system for the seasons. I love that they factored it into your top 10, because then that allows people like me to be included in that bunch of people that are playing all the time, or they're streaming. And they can play 12 hours a day. That's what I like about it. But it's like right there, all they have to do right now is turn on the skulls, the same system they have for the single player H1Z1, is hit that little button. And I just say little button because in my mind it's not that difficult if they really wanted to do it, and put the skull system in doubles and in fives. And you see an increase in people playing those games. And people are playing fives because it's the group game, and that's part of that mechanic. And you get to play with your friends. But imagine if you could wager 500 skulls, and you can go and trade in those skulls and buy a American flag Jeep, and all of a sudden you now you really want to play because you want to get in a fucking Jeep and drive around and let people see you. So it's just, there's so many more opportunities there if they just hit those little magical buttons, whatever those magical buttons are, turn things on.
When in a game, when you create the opportunity for people to do unique things with your game, it becomes very interesting to play, right?
Yes. Let it build it and watch what people do with it, and you will be extremely amazed, and you will know exactly how to keep your people happy.
Yeah. I see Scythe popped in. Is he just pop in to be part of the show, or is he just pop in to have his big name in the middle?
He probably doesn't have his mic muted.
He's got his mic muted.
He's got his mic muted.
Right.
He's probably really drunk right now or something.
I know he wasn't feeling good earlier in the week. So
Oh, right, fair enough.
Oh, poor guy.
Hey, I didn't realize my mic was muted. I was
told
streaming
you.
about 20 minutes too late. I realized you were streaming like 5 minutes into me sitting in your channel. I'm like, oh, they're the three people I want to play video games with. Shit, they're streaming. I'll shut up now. They're talking about a game I don't play anymore. I'll be quiet.
It is fun. It is fun. I mean,
it's nice to listen in and just not give a fuck. I'm like, oh, I just got shot. Sorry.
yeah.
My mic was muted because I was like, oh shit, hold on.
Yeah, you never make noise when you die or almost die in games. That never happens. There's never like. It's like
I yell when I die. Yes, it's true.
There's never a running commentary. Like you, like I always thought that side kind of like sort of put it on a little bit, and then I realized nope, he just does the running commentary just constantly, whether the mic's on, whether
That's true.
whether Discord's on or not.
Right.
I will narrate whatever the hell I'm doing just because it helps me stay focused. I do it at work. I actually do it at work when I'm like setting up our inventory and stuff. I'll sit there like, all right, I got 4 of these. I need 5 of these. I need 6 of this. Okay, yeah, that's there. Okay, good. People look at me like I'm weird.
You'd be a terrible secret agent. I'm just saying this right now.
You know what? I agree, but I'd be an excellent artilleryman.
Right.
So,
here's fuck that guy. We're firing.
And also, hey, shout outs if you guys are playing Battlefield 1, come play with us.
Oh, yeah.
Do it.
Besides H1Z1 King of the Kill right now, it's pretty much Battlefield 1. It's a great
And we
game.
never go play that. Never.
Yeah, I love Battlefield 1. It's like I haven't had this much fun playing Battlefield since like back in like Xbox Vietnam Battlefield.
I think the most fun we had though was when we were in a match that would not start because it was only the 3 of us and we just fucked around.
No,
for like 3 hours.
that was fun. And then also when me and
Massacre.
Yeah, when me and Scythe figured out that you could spawn kill the boats and for free points, that was pretty awesome.
They would spawn immediately after dying.
And not only it wasn't not only we found out you could shoot them for free, they like respawned instantly after they blew up. So it was like the game was enticing us to like keep doing it. It's like
I think we had 50,000 points between the 2 of us at the end of that match. I got bored and just went to kill people and then got massacred and I came back. I'm like, nah, it's fine. This is this is better.
Leave it up to Imperium players to
never
find a
never
find a loophole in the system and take advantage of it.
I get out. Fuck. All right, fuckers.
This community will show developers what they need to fix and what they need to do to grow.
Absolutely. Yep. We broke PlanetSide 2.
We break them and build them.
We break everything. Hey, we've got 2 minutes left before the meta show. The Meta Boat show comes up next, which is always great fun to watch. Do we have any last words on Just Survival or King of the Kill from you, McLeod? Anything?
Just land and keep doing what you're doing because you're doing a great job. And in terms of King of the Kill, like get some of those updates out, and even
iterative updates, anything.
Yeah, even small increment updates that just show us that you're doing stuff, that you're fixing stuff.
Space.
If someone's out there from Daybreak and they need some information, I'm always available. Hit me up on Twitch, Twitter. I'm sure someone at thematani.com can give you my information. I'm here to help grow this game that we all have learned to love, and we miss it.
Yeah,
and he lives locally.
And I live like down the street from Daybreak office. So.
Do you really? You should go over there and just yell things at them.
I've taken them salt and pepper chicken wings. These like really famous wings in San Diego, and I went over there with like 2 big like trays. And me and White Chocolate went in there and like we got to walk around their like kitchen, and then like all these people showed up and they're like totally like eating chicken wings. And I think I've seen I think it's Thomas Wynn. Is it Thomas Wynn? Tom Wynn. I think I saw him before he was in his position he was in now. So it was kind of cool though. I was like walking around. I have some pictures of it.
Yeah.
And we wrote like on a napkin. We didn't bring like a sign or anything, so we wrote like on a napkin with the marker like thanks from thematani.com, and we like left it there. It was so classic.
That's fucking classic.
Yeah.
It's so awesome and then half-assed.
Crack wings.
We're a classy organization.
Hey, man. Hey, they're developers. I mean, it's salt and pepper wings, baby. It's beautiful. All right, well, it's 4 o'clock, and it is time for the Meta Show. Everybody say goodbye, and we're going to head out of here and let everybody watch that show.
Later, bitches.
Later.
See ya.
Random